Hey guys,
I'm Jerry.
I'm Sierra,
We're ladies.
and we tangent.
What's up, everyone? Hello.
We're back, and it feels like it's crazy right now.
Mosby. Hey.
You want up here, bud?
Mosers. I should go boo.
So right before
Gang's all here.
the gang's all here, everybody. The other day before bed, last night, Sawyer's really loving that mommy, daddy are home for good because we both. Oh, good. For real, a tick. Kill it. It's on you. Flush it. Go flush it.
It's the last time I bring him. He's bringing bugs in here.
He's got bugs.
Mm-hmm. Last night you said, right?
Well, no, she's just been really like loving mommy daddy time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, it's so cute. Oh my God. However, she wanted to stay up with us, which we're like,
yeah.
Of course, because I don't want to put you to bed either.
Right.
So we were letting her stay up. And then we're like, okay, you do need to go to bed. We changed her diaper. She brushed her teeth. We're in bedtime mode. And we're like, are you ready? You want to go night-night? She goes, milk. We're like, you had your milk. She goes, how about a juice? Just like that. She goes, we go, no juice, just bedtime. And she goes, water.
She's like, what I'm trying to say to you people is I'm fucking thirsty.
And we were like, you can have some water, but you do need to go to bed.
Yeah.
And she was like, I had some sips of water. And she goes, a milk?
She goes, that didn't do it.
No.
Didn't do it for me. And here's the thing. It's not, that shit used to happen with my kids. And it's not that I am not wanting to hydrate you.
They're hydrated.
But what I don't want to do is clean up your piss the next morning.
In the middle of the night? Yeah. Well, mine sleeps with me. So her piss is on me.
Yeah. No.
And I'm not doing that.
No. And I mean, my kids sleep on like foam mattresses.
Yeah, no.
Soaks it up immediately. That's now full of piss.
That's
that
a
mattress
piss
is.
foam mattress.
That is a piss sponge of a mattress.
I have so many things that I have to tell you.
I have borderline nothing. I mean,
Amazing.
A lot has happened.
None of it's what we want to talk about.
None of it I can talk about.
Fair enough. Well, I'll tell you, this is not anything in our personal lives, but I have been on TikTok because we got home. Everybody, we're done with tour, okay? It's crazy. Today we're doing a tour Q&A. We let our Patreon ask the questions. That's a perk. There's going to be more perks to Patreon that we're going to announce next week.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that. But we let Patreon ask the questions. We got back from tour. We got back late Thursday.
Yep.
So yesterday I was rotting.
This is Saturday, by the way.
Rotting all day Friday.
Yeah.
And just kind of like doing things that needed done around the house, doing things that needed done around my personal self.
Yes.
But I was also on TikTok.
And
I found a little gem of TikTok that I didn't realize I needed in my life. And so what happened was in Columbus, Ohio, a woman started a TikTok saying, tell me you saw it.
I think I caught the end of it. Is this the laptop and the dogs?
Yes!
I didn't know it was in Columbus.
It's in Columbus, Ohio. So this woman, I saw her very first TikTok.
I saw the very last one.
Down the rabbit hole, dude. So she basically said, I think my office is haunted. Things have been messed around on my desk. My laptop is broken. Things are happening. Then the next one, I just fucking bonked my mind. Then the next one she does, she's like, oh, forgot to mention that me and my husband are digging a fence in our yard. And while we were digging, we found a rolled up rug 2 feet down. And everyone's like, what the fuck are you saying to me? She's like, what do I do about this? And everyone's like, you call the police.
Yeah.
She gets on live. I'm in this live. There's 121,000 people, 122,000 at one point, people in this live watching the
So
police
this happened
come
live yesterday.
Real time. Not yesterday, but it happened while we were traveling, I think. It was one of those days. All of my days have been jumbled up.
Okay.
So I'm in the live. Might have been yesterday.
Okay.
I can't remember.
You would have told me if you were in the live on Thursday.
No, it might have been yesterday.
So it would have had to been yesterday.
So she's in the live. The police are there. They have cadaver dogs. Both cadaver dogs hit on a scent in the hole. Now the FBI are there. It's a whole fucking thing. By the way, she's like, they also planted a tree above where we dug, and the tree is called a blood good.
The fuck does that? What's up with that?
I don't know.
What's the deal with blood goods?
I don't know, but it's there. So the police come. 122,000 people are watching. The cadaver dogs hit. Everyone's freaking the fuck out. They're like, there's a body in there, and it's the ghost that's haunting you. It's trying to get your attention to be like,
my body's in the backyard.
yes. Well, then they finally dig it up, and there's nothing. Nothing. However, now I'm on body in a rug talk. And so it's not even just hers.
Maybe this is information.
Other that I'm getting.
Maybe this is information you're about to share. But from the one that I saw where it was like, hey, both cadaver dogs hit, but nothing was found. It was just a rug and some plastic or something, rubber,
she didn't even say in hers, so I don't know.
And somebody looked it up, and cadaver dogs are 95% accurate. And they can hit on smells up to 15 feet down. So someone's like, I don't think this is over.
Ew.
Yeah.
What if the body's under the rug?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, the other thing people were thinking was, because she didn't live stream when they found it. She's in her house. And by the way, these are getting millions of views.
Yes,
I mean, up to like 10, 12 millions of views.
Yes.
People are going fucking crazy. And then making TikToks that are also getting millions of views about the situation.
Right.
So people are like, maybe the cops or the FBI was like, we did find something, but don't fucking say it on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of then you have to find the family and all of that stuff. So I don't know for sure. But what I did love about the situation is there was a creator, I can't remember his name, but my favorite TikTok about it was he was like, what's in the rug? I think hope. I think what's in the rug was the friends we found along the way. It's like, what's in the... None of us were thinking about politics. Yeah. We weren't thinking about the world and the traumas that are happening. We were just all there together.
It's like the gold and white or blue and black dress.
It
was the rug.
It brought us all together for a moment.
Ruggate.
It was.
It will be known. 2024 Ruggate.
I love it.
Yeah.
Good for her. She said, I think I officially made it because she got hacked and then she got robbed. And that shit happens. Once I finally felt like I made it, my Snapchat got hacked, and then they fucking shut my whole shit down.
True.
So watch out, because when your shit starts going viral, they will hack your ass. It's
God damn.
Scary. The other thing I want to say, speaking of traumas that are happening in the world, is that there is like devastating things happening with the hurricane.
Yes.
Helene is. I think people thought it was going to affect Florida and not so much Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, the way that it has.
Yes.
But it has been devastating for those states.
Yes.
So I don't want people to think we're glossing over that. And I want you to know that I have links. We're going to put them in our show notes for places if you would like to donate to help, because it is horrific.
Yeah.
I have seen, it's like funny TikToks and then just like devastation. And there will be moments where I'll just sit there and I have like tears in my eyes and I'm like, how do I move forward with this when I see, especially you and I think so much recently we have like put into our homes and the places we live.
Yeah.
And like if my town was decimated like that, it would be just devastating. So if you have the ability and you can, please donate, because it's something really, really sad that's happening. We go to St. Pete Beach every year. It's like Corey's family's vacation. And there are so many spots that are like ruined from the hurricane that even his mom, when we got back, she was like, I don't know if we're going to go on vacation there. And that's that's a very small, don't think that I'm saying that that's like what the
no,
problem is.
No.
But it just is so sad because that was an area of comfort and a home for so many people that's gone.
Yeah.
So if you can help, please help. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
And that's really all I have.
I'm sorry, I don't have more.
We've had a lot happening.
If you guys remember, a lot of stuff happened in my life this year outside of the podcast.
Yeah.
And that's all done now.
Yeah.
That's done now.
Yeah.
What started and I told you about one time is done now, officially.
Yeah.
And that's about all I have to report. And I've just mentally been trying to process the fact that things are done.
Yeah.
Things are done in my personal life and things are done in my professional life as far as tour coming to a close. And that is what we came to talk to you about today, is what happened on tour. Because
what did happen?
It's crazy to think that 25 cities? Is that what?
25 cities, 20 different states.
Yep. That
Crazy.
we visited. Yeah.
I went through and once I got
You told
over,
me you were going to count.
Dude, once I got over 30 plane rides, I couldn't do anymore because a lot of our flights were connecting flights. So we also had multiple flights during. And once I got to 30, I was like, I actually can't.
Yeah, that seems like enough
anymore. So I know it's over 30, but
yeah,
that doesn't include the miles we drove in cars as well.
Because we drove in North Carolina.
In Texas.
We drove all over Texas.
All over Texas.
We drove from St. Louis to Indianapolis.
To Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Insane.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to tell you about that a little bit. I'm going to do this question first so you can decide if we cut it or if we talk about it.
Okay.
Now that the tour is concluded, was there anything you wish you did differently in the structure besides the obvious? That's up to you.
And if you don't know what they mean by the obvious, I think that is asking about the characters of the show.
Yes.
If I would prefer to have changed that. And I think the only reason I would have liked to have changed the characters of the show is so that it would have allowed us to continue going with the show.
Yeah.
But other than that,
I think the show was beautiful. It had a beautiful message. It was a funny show.
Only thing that I think I would have changed was there was a couple things I wish I would have reworked just to have a little bit more variety. Do I know what that would have been? No. And the reason I'm being ambiguous is because we may or may not have an opportunity for people to see it one last time.
Yep.
And so I'm not going to give away that part, but that would have been like the only thing.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I felt like, as beautiful as the message was, I felt like some of it was like, I don't know. I think there was so much that we covered in the show that there could have been an opportunity to
do more,
if that makes sense.
True. And a lot of it, I don't think people in Columbus, if you came to our Columbus show, I don't think you understand that we built the show off the Columbus show.
Yes.
We were basically riffing the entire Columbus show. We pretty much wrote the show. I mean, we had an outline. We had a rough draft. But Columbus was our first time, and we were riffing.
Yes.
So a lot of it was, how are we going to do this? How are we going to say this? And we just talked to Columbus the way that we would talk to each other on the podcast. So,
and also, if you came to the Columbus show, you got an extra video.
You got so many extra videos. You got multiple extra videos.
Yeah, that people didn't get to see then because we ended up cutting the show shorter.
Yeah.
So the show that Columbus, you saw a very different show than everyone else.
Columbus and Orlando saw different shows than everyone else.
Yep.
Okay, next question. It says, saw the tour in Dallas and St. Louis. Were there any crowds that didn't bring the vibe, and or was there a crowd that stuck out to you the most, and why? I would say if you were in Dallas, you can understand that Dallas stuck out.
Yes.
For obvious reasons.
Yes.
But there were a lot of shows that competed with Dallas.
I will say the only crowds that I felt like didn't match a certain energy were ones that were, it was because of the venue.
Yeah, it was not the crowd's fault.
No, because there were certain venues who just weren't set up for our type of show.
Yeah.
And so like their audio wasn't maybe as loud as it needed to be. And so the audience couldn't be as loud as they probably wanted to be.
Yes.
Because they were trying to hear the videos.
Yes. And we said that multiple shows. We were like, can you make sure that you make this loud? I know it seems loud, but our crowd will get loud.
Yes.
And they did.
Yes. So we're always like, hey, you're going to need to, whatever you think it needs to be at, higher.
Yeah.
Go higher. Because when the jokes hit, they hit. And they hit for the entire room. And some of them are back to back.
That's what I mean. Because the jokes will hit for a minute. So like if they're laughing during one and they miss that second one, they might be like, what's the context of what's happening?
Yeah. So that would be the only thing is I think what was so cool and so validating for me at least was the jokes hit the same everywhere. It was like,
it might just have been a little quieter, but they hit the same.
It was like a very consistent. The energy was very consistent. And then when the energy shifted intentionally, because we did that, it all shifted the same way.
Yeah.
And so like, it was very cool to see that it wasn't, this is, I guess, just patting us on the back, but it wasn't just like, okay, this really fit this crowd. It was, no, this show
is for these people.
I'm going to get emotional.
I
this
know.
show, fuck. There's, I guess we can say this part, but I think anyone who came to the show didn't know there was a message.
Yeah.
And so when the message hit and the shift happened in the room and there was just a collective emotion that almost felt like uniting.
Oh,
that to me, I think that's what I'll miss the most.
Me too.
And that's why it makes me sad that it's done because I'm so proud of it.
Me too.
And I think that anyone who got to experience that collective feeling, I think we'll all carry that with us.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really proud of that.
The coolest part as well for me was seeing that not only was that a certain state or city, because for me, I've said multiple times, I started to get like a feeling of sadness within the world because of where we lived. Yep. And is this what the world is like all around? And it was like, there is a collective group of people everywhere we went. A lot.
Yeah.
We never had, I mean, it was like 150 at least at every place. So there's a collective group of people in every place we went that got it. Yeah. And that felt like we did and that acted like we do and that felt like family. Yeah. And that was cool to see in 25 different places. Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy to me.
I remember someone said, like, I just want you to know that your ripple extends so widely. And I remember crying when they said that because that's something my dad and I have talked about is like when you throw yourself into something or you put something into the world, you imagine it as like throwing a rock into a lake and like make sure that the impact is a positive one because those ripples go on.
Because they're going to go.
And knowing that the ripples from this show and from our community is a positive one and that whether you were at the show or not, you could feel the impact of that. That is beautiful to me.
So cool. So cool. What are you going to miss the most about tour? And did you guys learn anything new while touring? If so, what was the most interesting to you? What I'm going to miss most, I think, is the people.
Yes.
Like, truly, that was the best part of it.
Yeah.
I loved seeing the things that we got to see and going to all the different places, but the energy you feel in that room, and we heard it. I know we say this a lot, but I don't think you all understand the impact. These comedy clubs, these venues have multiple performers, comedians, musicians,
huge names,
huge people. And they commented almost every single time about how our crowd was the nicest, the kindest, the most like giving, polite, just like the best crowd the energy was always the best that they'd seen.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, hearing them always say to us, like, yes, of course, talking about how wonderful of an audience you were to serve for them was wonderful, because to us it's almost like
very important.
It's representative of us. You are representing us as much as you're representing yourself in that situation, because it's like you are who you attract. Like, you know, the whole like your vibe attracts what, like that to me was cool. But on top of that, hearing them say like your audience loves you.
Your audience
they ride for you. Like that to me is validating in another way, because how many fans do they see? They're like, these people came for you.
Yeah.
Like this group is not here because they just wanted something to do on a Thursday night. They didn't just wander in off the street. These people are here for you, cheering for you for the bare minimum, really. Sometimes during the show, the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And
I think cheered us through it.
I think it was exciting for the staff to witness that kind of community as well.
And like love.
Yeah.
It's love.
Yeah.
Like that's a love for people where you're like, I'm not judging you off of how you're performing for me. Like you're a dancing monkey. I just love you and I want to see you succeed.
And I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
As far as like if we learned anything, I think we learned that we could do this in front of other people, because I mean, up until tour it was just the two of us. And even when we started, because I have our first recording of us trying to see if we could talk together. And
embarrassing. Don't ever post it.
I can't tell you how many times I thought about sharing it, but we'll make one Patreon tier that's $1,000, and all that's in there is that access to that one clip. But I think we put stuff out into the world and we just hope that people are going to connect with it. And I learned that people do connect with it, and they will continuously connect with it, and that it's not just in our head, and there's no reason for us to have imposter syndrome, because like it's there.
Dude, it does something to you. I'm telling you, it's like changed me as a person, because I would have never gotten up in front of people. And even multiple times I was shaking during the whole show. Jerry would see it. Corey would see it. Like people could see it. However, even though my body was reacting and I was shaking like a little chihuahua, which also you guys do when you meet us, which I love so much, because I'm like, I'm not alone. But it was almost like I didn't feel like I was going to be sick. I didn't feel like scared.
Yeah.
It was adrenaline almost, like excited. It was like excited chihuahua.
Yes.
You know? And I never once felt, let me just tell you, there might be a question about it, but we had multiple fucking things go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
At multiple different shows.
I was going to say, if anything, I got validated that I'm a very good problem solver.
As far as like
the technology part goes.
Listen, the way that and I'm going to say this part.
Yeah.
Problem solved. I know we did it in a lot of different ways, but like for us both to think on our feet, there was a part in Raleigh that I was so scared when it happened. I fucking freaked out, because there is a part, if you watch the show, that is audio only.
Yes.
Okay. So no visuals.
Oh yeah.
It's just subtitles. And that clip, the audio wouldn't play.
Yes.
So we're trying multiple times. We're on stage. People are staring at us like, and it just won't play.
Yep.
And it's my audio from a certain part. You'll see it if you see it. And I was like, what the fuck do we do?
Yeah.
And immediately I'm like, you know what? I sit down in the middle of the stage. I turn my back to the audience and I like just start reading, but I knew how it sounded because I've heard it so many times that I started doing it as the clip played. And like, it ended up being such a funny, like people messaged us from Raleigh and they were like, we know you had technical issues, but that honestly felt so fun. It felt it was like a moment we weren't supposed to see. It was like a peek behind the curtain.
It was a very unique experience just to them that wouldn't be, it will never be duplicated again.
No,
that was just a on the fly, what the fuck kind of thing.
And I was so proud of both of us that we were able to laugh it off and go with it and make
which
it what
also
it was.
kind of happened
in Houston.
Whenever
Jesus.
So we walk out to an intro video. So the intro video plays, and then at the end,
during our music,
our audio, our intro music plays, and we walk out during that. For whatever fucking reason, in Houston, it stopped halfway. And so we ran out, restarted it, and it started again, and then again it stopped. And so then we both walk out at the same time, just
screaming, screaming, da 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 da.
And honestly,
and the crowd was going crazy, though. They loved it.
I remember us sitting down and going, what the fuck ever. We were
because then you were like, we have to do this again. And you figured something out. And we went back and then we did it again.
So it was cool again that like moments like that
we didn't let it break us.
We just made it a unique, special to you situation that's like, hey, it felt like we were performing for our family every night
or friends, because it's like, you guys get it, we're fuck ups, it's funny. And they were laughing with us and being like, you silly girl.
Yeah, it wasn't like, what did I pay
what
for?
What the fuck are you doing?
This is it. It was almost like, oh, we get extra.
Yeah,
other people don't get that.
Yeah, and I think we gifted them. I think in both of those shows we might have gifted them a little extra something. Yeah, potentially.
I don't know.
'Cause there were a couple shows where we felt bad about certain things.
Oh yeah,
where we gave them gifts of perhaps extra videos. Because we were like, sorry, we fucked up. Have another.
Sorry to Phoenix, who I called greedy bitches because they kept asking for extra videos.
You were like, you were at another show, weren't you?
You know that we showed more.
It's only when we fuck up.
Yeah.
Ooh, hey ladies, I loved seeing you in St. Louis. We actually walked in together, kind of crazy. And now I'm trying to remember.
I know,
all of these are blending in.
Yeah.
But I feel like I think I remember St. Louis, us walking in with the crowd kind of walking in the doors.
Yeah, there was a lot of times where we
accidentally got in. They would
take us to the green
venues would be like, hey, call us when you're here and we'll come get you at this secret special door. And we would be like, well, we're here. And they'd be like, not answering.
I guess come through the front.
And so we just walk in the front where everyone was.
Or certain times they were like, here, we'll walk you to the green room, and they'd walk us through the bar where everyone was. And we were like, hey, everybody.
So fun. This is Haley. Oh, yeah. My question is, how was the experience of transitioning from, quote, regular life / mom life to tour life, then back to regular life again?
Jarring.
Very jarring. Thank you, ladies, for putting in so much work this year on tour, and I'm so proud of you guys for closing this chapter. Can't wait to see what's next. Jarring. It was a very surreal. It's very surreal because, yeah, dude,
it's exhausting. It takes a lot out of you.
So draining. That's why we're both kind of like right now, because it's.
But like, for me, it was hard because I didn't have anyone to go home to.
Yeah.
Like other than my kids. Obviously I was going back to my kids, but I didn't have any help then. And so it was like I had no time to recover.
Yep.
And I know I beat myself up a lot because I never wanted to develop any kind of resentment for tour or for my kids because both of them were seemingly draining me of a lot of energy. And I wanted my kids to feel really special and loved and attended to when I was home because I hated the fact that I had to leave them.
Right.
But then I also felt this huge responsibility to people who were coming and supporting us at the shows. And so I wanted to give them my all. And that just resulted in me being pretty comatose a lot whenever either one was done. Like if you were at meet and greets or you see photos of meet and greets, Sierra like looks way more alive than I do.
Well, I'm just also in my element. I don't know. That's like a weird thing for me. I was in my element during meet and greets. I don't know why, but I felt like I was vibing the whole time. Also what it was for me, not that I didn't enjoy it, because I truly did. These two things don't really compare, but they do in a way. I got the server in me.
Oh yeah.
So like I can turn
attentive on.
Yeah. Well, I can just turn on the Showboat Sierra a little bit higher, and I was able to do that easier than I ever have been because it was fun. It was
Yeah.
people that felt like my friends, people that felt like my family. So like that part, what for me was, I think I pulled from the server part of
those
me.
skills.
Yeah. Which is honestly, I think that people need to give the service industry, but especially like waitresses and waiters, credit for the fact that that's a skill you have to learn upon.
Yeah.
You have to be on and happy all the time. There were times I was actively miscarrying while serving and had to put on a smile and I'm your best friend.
Yep.
This is a moment. And again, it was so much easier. I can't fucking tell you how much easier it was with you all, but I think that's where that came from.
Oh, for sure.
It was very easy for me to turn it on.
And I think that like I did work in the service industry, but not in a way where like my paycheck
money was counting on that.
Yeah. So like me at weddings, I was like, do you need anything? Because like I'll get that for you. But I didn't have to like
have a smile.
Yeah.
Be a personality.
Yeah. I just had to like be able to run shit and get it done.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I brought.
Yeah,
but
transferred a little bit.
And that's the thing is, I obviously love meeting everybody. Meet and greets. There is no way that I can explain to you what it means to feel seen by that many people night after night. And I don't mean seen as in like you watched us perform. I mean you coming up. I'm going to cry again. There was somebody who came up on the last night and their husband showed me her phone and he's like, she wants you to read this.
Yeah.
And I read it and they had listened to an episode from 2022 and said, I had said something about, I hope that whatever version of me lives on the other side of this, that I like her, that I'm proud of her.
Yeah.
And the question was, fuck, you are now.
Yeah.
Do you like you? Are you proud of you? And like to know that somebody reminded me of that, like took the time that they were meeting me, that should have been for them, used it to check in on me.
Yeah.
I can't explain what that meant. And knowing that there were so many people who were asking us, like, how are you? Are you okay? Checking in and
so
like,
sweet. That was the first thing some people said.
Yes.
Like, how are you?
How are you?
Okay?
Are you taking care of yourselves?
God, I love you guys so much.
Yeah.
I can't even explain it.
Yeah. I just always know when I look back at photos, I'm like, Sierra looks alive and I look happy. I look like I'm greeting people, but she looks like she is at Disneyland.
I mean, honestly, sometimes I am. That's the thing about being an introvert, mostly sort of an extrovert, is that like I don't get the extrovert part of me enough to when I do, and it's nice people. Yeah. I'm like, this is the best day of my fucking life. It was I love everybody.
What was crazy is maybe
I would also get really high adrenaline hits. This was also why I would shake so much.
I was going to ask you, because I've never been around you on drugs.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, I feel like if I ever were around you when you were on certain drugs, that's how it would be.
Dude,
like
the
that would be the high.
Had me. I did feel a high. I told Corey, and Jerry knew this as well, because we would get back to the hotel and she would be conked out pretty much immediately.
Yes.
And I would be up for 2-3 hours afterwards sometimes. Like, I could not fall asleep because I was buzzing with like adrenaline and energy and just like excitement.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I think I got a really, I didn't realize that performing was such I love it.
Yeah.
Like it is my, like genuinely, I think it's my life's purpose. I think it's my dream. It is a feeling I've never felt. So when you see me at meet and greets, and I look that way, it's so genuine, but it's because I am riding that high of like, these are the people I was meant to be in front of and perform in front of. I think if we had any other type of audience, it would not be.
Oh no, for sure. I feel like that there's a mutual love and respect there. So it's not like you're trying to win anyone over.
And people say that. They're like, I feel like I'm meeting my friends. I feel like I'm seeing my friends. This doesn't feel like the first time we're talking. And that's how I felt as well.
Another thing that always got me emotional is when people were like, you guys are like the big sisters that I never had. I was like, oh, well, fuck. That's all I've ever really wanted is to
I wanted.
support someone in that way.
Truly.
I also feel like, and I thought about this whenever you were talking about me crashing after, I think I had to mask a lot.
Yeah.
Because
there's a lot of real life.
Well, I was
going to
say I can't necessarily talk about it, but there would be things that were happening right before I walked on stage. There would be things that were happening the entire travel day. There was big emotional hard things that I was having to be unexpectedly confronted with right before I had to get on stage. And so it was almost like anything I had, I exhausted myself in front of our audience. Yeah. And then as soon as we would get back to the hotel, I'm dead. I am dead.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm already like a tired gal, but that was a challenge for me.
It's a lot. That adrenaline worked for me in a lot of ways, but it also worked against me in the way that I would be like a shaking chihuahua. You should have seen me. The way that Jerry was so calm, cool, and collected before we would go on stage, she would just be like,
I had to save all my energy. It wasn't that I was calm, cool, and collected. I had to fucking put that shit on reserve.
And I'm doing laps. I am doing fucking laps. I'm jumping up and down. I am like, I have to get this out or I'm going to be a freak on stage. Because I was just like.
And it always did go out.
No, I mean, it was most of them. I could definitely feel it in some of them where they didn't, but it was fine. Which city was your favorite to visit? And then this says, I feel like Cece's will be Vegas. I did love Vegas. I'm not gonna lie. You know what? No,
can I really guess your show?
Yeah,
could you guess your favorite city? I'm just gonna say Seattle.
Ooh, close. I actually don't know. It's a 3-way tie. Portland, Seattle, and San Diego were my favorite ones to visit. But I will say that Vegas gets an honorary mention for being my night owl.
I keep mixing up because
Portland and Seattle were so close.
Well, I spent time with Kat in Seattle.
Yeah, but then when we went back, we were in Portland.
She's from Portland, and so like I keep mixing up.
The only reason maybe Vegas wasn't was because we weren't there for long enough. We were there for I just got a little bit of casino time, and it was fine. It was fun, but like the amount that we got to do in Portland and Seattle was so fun and beautiful. I honestly really loved all the Texas ones too. We had to drive, which was kind of shitty, but we saw so many cool things. We went through so many cool things, and like everywhere in Texas was really uniquely different, but in the same state. So like, I don't know. There's so many good ones.
I feel like I could really tell that Sierra has not traveled before. Dude. Because there was almost like a youthful excitement.
I felt like a little kid.
Everywhere we went.
I felt like a little
where
kid.
I was jaded.
You were.
A lot. Yeah. And it's like, that's my biggest.
You're like, I've seen it.
Yeah, that's my biggest bummer of tour in general is that like between. Well, and I think that I couldn't really get excited because I was, again, trying to reserve my fucking energy. Yeah. And I will say watching you get excited was exciting for me. It was like, again, getting to watch like my kid experience things for the first time.
Like a little kid
because I couldn't wait to show you the mountains. I couldn't wait for you to see certain things.
You had to tear me away from those mountains. I couldn't believe we could see in Seattle. We can see them from our hotel, and I was like,
we could see Russia from our house.
Jerry said that to somebody at like a soundstage kid, and you could tell that he was
San Diego.
You could tell he was young.
They were talking about how they're
right
close
across to Tijuana.
Yes,
right by Mexico. They're like, we could go there for a night for beers, and we were like, what? We're that close? Again, geography and me are not. I was shocked that we were by as many things. Here's the thing. I've learned so much. I've experienced so much. Yeah. I'm a new person.
Well, yeah, the guy was like, yeah, I can see Tijuana from my house. And I go, I can see Russia from my house. And he was like, guy goes,
really? From Ohio?
That's cool. I didn't know Ohio was that close. I'm like, no, I was doing Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin thing. You will
forget it. Honestly, I need to go home.
But like that was, you would never, besides the one time we went to LA, I had never been past the East Coast. Yeah. I've literally never even been Midwest. I'd never been to the South, besides like Florida was the farthest I'd gone. I had never been to any of these places. So I'd never been to New York. I'd never been to DC. Well, we did one time. We talked about that. I'd never been to Boston.
I was going to say Boston might have been one of my favorites.
Boston was beautiful, but I really love the out west.
Well, I was going to say
out west, man.
It's hard to beat the Pacific Northwest. I've talked about the Pacific Northwest
so
forever.
Amazing. I even like the southern, not the Northwest, the Pacific Southwest. I fucking love San Diego. I love the West Coast in general. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
I could never live there because earthquakes.
Yeah, scary.
I'm so scared.
I think if I'm going to pick something that I hadn't experienced before, it would probably, you know what's wild? It's Boston and Houston.
Oh, I loved
Houston.
Houston was great.
Mm-hmm.
Those lattes.
I dream about the freaking little breakfast brunch place that we
went. Brunch place we went had the best lattes and the best food that we had on. Let me tell you something that I told Corey. I didn't realize what a foodie I was. I said, you and I could travel and just eat and see and eat. That's all I want to do.
What's funny is Sierra was like, there was an option. Shout out to Ari for
all
of your help.
Our travel agent was incredible. She was also my wedding planner.
Yes.
And she helped us so much.
Oh, she really made this such a simple process.
Yeah.
As difficult as tour is, like she streamlined the whole fucking thing for us.
Incredible.
And at the end, she surprised us and she's like, I have 2 places for you to stay in Phoenix. One is nice and it's a more affordable. She goes, or if you guys want to celebrate, I have this bougie place,
like spa place.
And we decided not to stay there because
we weren't going to spend a lot of time.
We weren't going to have enough time there to take advantage of all the amenities. However, Sierra was like, you know what? I don't really care about staying in nice places as long as I can spend that extra money on food. She goes, I want to spend our because they give us like a travel budget normally.
Dude, I spent
She's so like, I want to spend that on food.
I was living my foodie life. I was like, we're
real.
Gonna eat fish on the West Coast and in
where was it that I went and I spent over $100 on desserts?
Minneapolis. We spent so much money on desserts. That fucking shit was amazing. Well, they don't have bars open past 10, so we had to get fucking desserts to go to our hotel. Where I'm like, I guess we're not bringing alcohol. We're gonna bring fucking 4 desserts.
And now I'm gonna shit green.
They were so good.
So good.
Yeah, we lived our best lives there. Would you ever tour in Mississippi or Louisiana? Well, we are going to Louisiana soon.
We are.
Not for tour, but Mississippi here, and I live close to New Orleans, and they have a lot of spooky tours and voodoo history that y'all could always look into. Love you guys so much. Much appreciated.
I would love to do an episode on voodoo.
I would too.
Like, I don't know if there's...
Here's what I'm worried about is like a cultural...
Yeah,
I don't want to tap into anything like that and be accidentally inappropriate.
Right.
But I love the history. I can't wait to go to New Orleans. So we are going to New Orleans in November with our dads and respective partners and other people, I think.
Yeah.
For a Browns game. So that's what our dad's invited us to it, and we're really excited because it's like our first time traveling, not having to work.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that people think about is like, because everybody asks me, they're like, what'd you do in these places? When we're touring,
nothing.
We very much have little, like when we got to Phoenix for our show, we were traveling all day, and then we got to Phoenix, and then we literally had time. I had time to shower and put on half my makeup, half-ass blow dry my hair before we had to be at the club, and we were still 30 minutes late.
Yep.
For sound check, and then we had to get ready at the club the rest of the way.
Yep.
And like that's most of touring. Like, and then when we get back to the hotel, it's like midnight. You don't have shit.
Yeah.
You can't do anything. And then when you wake up in the morning,
you gotta
go. Waking up at 8 a.m. to catch a flight at 10.
I think the only place where we actually were sightseeing was Portland and Boston.
Yeah.
Where we had like a little bit extra time.
We had a little bit extra in Minneapolis only because we got there a day early, but we didn't really sightsee. We just like walked around a little bit and
Same
got
thing
like
with New York.
Yeah. If we get there a little bit early, we can walk around, but like you can't plan to do things because there's just we have no idea with travel things.
And you're also gambling. You're like, okay, do I go and explore downtown New York City and go see Times Square because this is a once in a lifetime kind of thing? The Sierra's never done this before. Or do I go and nap?
Do we take a nap because we have been traveling all day and we're exhausted and we have a show to put on tonight?
You're like trying to pick between.
And we had to get up at 5 a.m.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
dude, it's tough. But we would love to come to those areas. None of these, just so everybody knows, none of these places were places we said were off.
Yeah.
Off the map
Limits.
for us. Yeah, limits. So that's, if they're all potentials for the future, these are just what we got offered, and we took what we got offered.
Right.
Truly,
Yes, 100%.
we didn't turn down anything we got offered, and we have to be offered something
Yes.
to be able
show up.
pick it. So, what was the biggest lesson you learned or something you overcame while on tour? I can answer easily. Was my 2 anxieties: flight anxiety, travel anxiety in general, and being in front of people. And both of those, I literally thought, when we started the tour, I was like, I have to be drunk, not drinking, drunk to fly.
Yeah.
Now, imagine.
And you had to listen to there
So
was
I
times
didn't
where I was
realize-
sitting next to her and I was like, hey, can you listen to the song? And she goes, I actually can't listen to anything other than this song when we take off.
So
I was like, okay, weird.
So I talked to our friend Kat.
Because then it made me nervous. I'm like, well, fine, fucking listen to that
Listen to
song or I
GAZA
guess
before
we
we get
die.
I talked to our friend Kat from Portland, who showed us around while we were in Portland. And she was like, do you think maybe you might have a touch of OCD? And I didn't think that I had until I really looked into it. And I was like, well, I do have to listen to the same exact song on repeat when we take off and land, or in my mind, genuinely. And I'm not saying this to be any kind of, in my mind, I was like, our plane will go down if I'm not listening to these songs. I have to listen to these songs or they're not. I can't explain to you why. I don't know why my brain was doing that. And again, I'm a very logical person, so I can look back at it now and be like, that wasn't real, because I've done it since without them.
Yeah.
But you couldn't tell me that in that time.
No.
And I think that's what
And I wasn't going to try. I was not going to try.
Obsessive compulsive disorder is.
Yeah. I was like, whatever you need to get you
through
to stay on this flight, I'm supportive of.
So I did that the whole first half. And then I did it a little bit the second half. And then I realized one time I didn't, and nothing bad happened. And then I was like, let's try it again.
Yep.
And by the end of it, I didn't have to be listening to anything.
Yeah.
I didn't have to have music on when we took off. I could be playing a game, reading a book. Like, it was crazy. So that, I don't think that I had it in a way that some people have it. And so I'm not trying to say that if you're like, that's not what OCD is. I think that maybe if that's not, I had a little bit of a obsessive tendencies, maybe, compulsive tendencies. But I will say that those were something that I thought would hold me back. Because I was like, first of all, this song is getting so fucking old. And also just, it was annoying that I had to fucking be like, I have to have this. It would be like, I have to make sure this is downloaded, because if I don't have Wi-Fi and I can't play it, then we're going to go down. And like that towards the end, it was just exposure therapy. Enough times of seeing that the worst thing I thought was going to happen didn't happen. And that was the same thing with shows. The worst thing in my mind that happened was that we would be booed off stage. And truly, that's what I thought was going to happen.
And then you have to ask yourself, why would we be booed? What would happen in order for that to occur?
So then I'm like, we would have horrible technical difficulties. I would mess up my words. We would have dead air time that would be awkward silences. All of those things fucking happened.
Multiple times.
All of them happened. And guess what they did? They cheered. They cheered for us during those moments. And so that was like, okay, it's not going to happen. These aren't the people you think they are. These aren't the worst people in your nightmares. Yeah. So I think that was what I was able to overcome. But I wouldn't have been able to do that without the community we have.
It's very shocking to me that those were, like, I know that those were reservations for you. I know that you had that anxiety going into it because I could see it in your body language. I could read it on your face. But knowing you now and seeing you over really all the shows, it's hard to believe that that was ever a concern of yours.
I know.
Because that's so far from...
It went away.
Yeah. I haven't seen that on you.
Not in this last round pretty much at all. Yeah. It was crazy. It was like the first round really did it.
I think I can't stop crying, just so you guys know. So I'm sorry. But I think watching that melt away from you allowed me to go through probably the biggest transformation that I think I went through during this was realizing that I don't have to carry everything by myself.
Yes.
And so it was easier for me to lean on you, and not only lean on you, but not beat myself up for leaning on you, because whenever, here's some examples. And I don't know, I haven't told you this, but I think these are all things that you could probably assume. But so for our first tour, my friend Rachel had helped us with the booking of stuff, but
this was like the first 2 shows that we did.
first 2 shows that was really just like a test run for a potential tour. But like a lot of times, if it was like any game planning stuff, whenever we went to LA that one time, like all of those things, I was making the plans. I was booking the hotels. I was doing those things, and I know now at the beginning of tour, like Sierra's like, hey, I'm gonna have Ari help us with those things. And it almost felt to me like I was like, okay, but what, aren't I supposed to do those things? Aren't I supposed, or like, there were just feeling like I never felt like I had to carry meet and greets. If anything, I was like, Sierra's going to have the energy. She's going to be able.
She would tell me, she would be like, I'm going to let you go out first. Yes. Like, you got this. And I was like, I got you.
Yeah. I was like, you be first. You'll greet them.
I was on
set the
a
tone.
drug called life.
I was like, you can set the tone, and then I will I can't set the tone.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to make people be self-conscious because I'm so low energy.
Sure.
And it's not about them. It's about me right now. But like, I feel like throughout the entirety of it, I let go of the responsibility of feeling like I had to do everything, or if I didn't, that I was failing myself or failing you. Or I really felt genuine partnership.
Oh,
and
that's what I
that,
wanted.
Like, I know that, but I never felt like this is going way beyond tour, but I did learn this through this experience.
Yeah.
I never felt like I was capable of having genuine partnership because I never thought that I did enough to let people help me with it. Like I had to do everything, because if I stopped, then everything would
fall
stop
apart. Yeah.
And tour has helped me realize that that's not true.
Aww,
and
I love that.
That we are partners.
Yes.
And that we can be partners, and that you can lift me up and take care of me just as much as I want to lift you up and take care of you. And
I love that. That's what I wanted to prove. I really did. I was like, I gotta show her that I can fucking do this shit. And I know you're going through tough time.
Well,
that was
it
like,
wasn't
I
just
don't need
you.
to put you on you got to do all of this, because I was like, she's got enough going on right now. Like, the fact that you could even perform and do what you did on top of everything going on, I felt like was miles above what expectations would be for normal people.
Thank you.
Yeah, truly.
Because it was
I'm not even kidding. If it were me and that shit was happening, I'd be like, cancel the fucking tour. I'm not even kidding. And I'm not being a dick, but like, for real, I would be like, I don't know, maybe different now that I've done it. But had it been my first experience, I'd be like, cancel it. I can't fucking do that. I can't do both.
At that point, when tour started, I had already been hiding.
Yeah.
I had already been pretending and acting for 2 years at that point. So I knew that I had some capability to do it with a broken heart, show up, put my shit on hold, and do my job.
Yeah. By the way, that fucking song played while we were on our way to our last show in the Uber. And me and Jerry were both like getting emotional. And I was like, not this Uber driver. Being like, what the fuck is going on? Because we're like,
don't you dare do that to me right now. Yeah. I don't know if any of that landed, but I think
it did.
I forget what the question was.
It landed to me.
We had talked so long, I forgot what the question was.
I think it was like, what did you learn?
Oh.
Or something.
Yeah. I learned that I could lean on people, and that didn't make me less than.
Yeah. This is a
way more condensed version answer. I could have just said that, but of course I can't.
Of course not. This is an interesting question. Have either of you felt any negative changes in yourself that can sometimes come with success? I've heard Theo Von talk about how sometimes he feels guilty being so successful as someone that grew up poor. I will say, as well as that, yes. I feel that part of it specifically, where I look at people who I know are still struggling, and I almost feel like a need to help them. Like,
yes.
if I can't help them, what the fuck am I doing this all for?
Yes. Oh, I've had that thought all the time.
Oh,
it's
like sickening.
Yes.
I like almost want to be like,
I don't know how to have this without offering it to everyone else.
Everyone.
Yeah.
And that's hard because you also still have to keep yourself going. And the thing with finances is like, people can look at us and think that we're like set, but we're not. We're not millionaires. We're not. That's what I'm trying to say. I think people think we have more than we do because of the success you see online, and like that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, the numbers that you see online don't necessarily equate to money.
Sure. But
like we make almost nothing from TikTok.
Yeah.
Like that's our biggest platform.
Yeah, we actually make like nothing from there, truly. Yeah. So when people think that, it's hard because we don't do brand deals and stuff like that. I mean, we do ads on the podcast, but again, we're not doing huge brand things, and it's almost like you have to have not just 8 million, you got to have millions and millions of followers to be an influencer, and so we're not making money like that.
No.
However, we're not in lower class tier anymore, and
Correct.
So to me, I feel like, okay, now I have to help those that are, and it's definitely a hard balance to not want to just pour it into, to give it away.
Yes.
I just genuinely, and sometimes I do, it's to a detriment where I have to be like, reel it in, because it's like I just want to give.
Well, because
to people who need it.
For me, who has always carried around certain labels of being selfish or thinking I'm better than other people, which LOL. People really love to bring that one up after that one confession I had. But carrying labels around like that, it almost makes me feel like I have to give it away in order to counteract those labels. Mm-hmm. Because if I say I worked for this, I deserve this, I've earned this.
It's like, well, you're selfish.
Then it's like, oh, so you think that you deserve, I don't work hard? You think that I don't deserve this? And it's like, no, I don't think that at all. Yeah. And you know what? In fact, take this then. Yes. I don't want this then, if that's what that means.
You and I I've noticed this about us, and I'm not tooting our own horns, but we are like generous to a detriment sometimes.
Yeah.
Where sometimes, especially when it comes to like tipping,
when
we're on tour, sometimes I'm like, are we making any money?
I don't know that we are.
Which is fine. I mean, it's whatever.
We're getting paid in experiences.
I'm happy with them. But sometimes I look back at the card and I'm like, no, fuck.
we really do be loving
generous.
But
that's okay. I think that's okay.
I was going to say, I wonder a negative thing. I think something that I feel guilt about is it's not so much from the show as it is therapy. I have carried more guilt and felt like I have acquired more quote unquote negative attributes from therapy than I did anything else. And if I were to list them off, what it would sound like is, oh, so you've been respecting yourself?
Right.
Oh,
right,
so
right.
you've been setting boundaries? Oh, so you have been requiring people to respect those boundaries that you've set?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make you a bad person.
Right. Oh,
but
dude,
like
it's hard.
it feels like I'm a bad person. It feels like picking myself means that I'm taking from others.
Oh, I felt that. I've felt that so much this last year where it's like, advocating for yourself almost feels like yucky.
Yes.
Like, wait a minute. No, but fuck me.
Yes.
Truly.
Yes. And so I think that that's been something that feels negative that isn't negative. You know what I mean? Like we would never tell somebody else that it wasn't okay to advocate for themselves. No. We would never tell someone else to dull themselves or to compromise on their boundaries in order to make other people feel comfortable.
Right.
But we do that to ourselves.
Yeah, we sure do.
Yeah.
Damn it. This one's fun. What was the most embarrassing fan experience you had during meet and greets? I mean, embarrassing for Jerry or Sierra, not the person, because that's their business to tell. But I'll tell mine. I was very drunk, and Sierra goes, "Girl, me too." Were you the person that I hugged and then we danced together?
Were you in Phoenix?
And we kind of San Diego.
San Diego.
We did this motion on each other. If so, that was a great moment for me. If not, I know that I've had that moment more than.
I don't know that.
I accidentally asked somebody if there were drugs in what she was giving me. Hey, here's the thing. Sometimes, hey, when I'm saying, Jerry's like, you're so enthusiastic. Sierra looks like she's having the best time in her life. Hey, sometimes I'm manic during those, and I understand that I'm manic. And sometimes manic me is too much. And I apologize. You guys love it for some reason. But I know Jerry doesn't see me like that often. So I can see on her face when I'm being like, ah. And there was one time where somebody's like, I made you these incredible pumpkin cream cheese muffins, which I got the fucking recipe for. And I'm so excited because I ate like 3 of them when we got back. However, I knew I was going to eat 3 of them when we got back, because they were delicious looking. And so I looked her dead in the face, and instead of saying thank you, I was like, are there drugs in these? And like deadpanned. And I don't know why the fuck that was the first thing I said.
And that's not the only time you've asked that, though.
No, it's not. But that's a very, because some people have brought us weed.
It's valid.
Weed things.
Yes.
So I feel like I need to ask that, because I'm like, I know I'm going to have 3 of these. Am I going to accidentally induce a coma in myself because I do have to get up at 5 a.m. for a flight? And so what I loved about her reaction was she goes, do you want there to be? And I was like, no, oh my God, I'm not asking you for drugs. I'm so sorry. This is weird now. I just don't want to accidentally get too high that I'm afraid to go to sleep because I have to fall asleep.
I think
so. It was that was probably I'm so sorry for that.
I think my most embarrassing is either one, asking someone what their name is and they hit me in the in the neck with their shoulder, and there's been multiple people who are like, oh, sorry, I'm gonna miss your neck, so you don't do that weird throat thing. Yeah, so people have said that back to me, and I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot.
I've touched boobies. Have you accidentally grazed?
No, not that I remember.
Quite a few boobies.
Not that I remember. But I
just give a really full hug. Sometimes they come around the full back, and then I'm touching side boob, and I do a tap, and then I'm like, sorry, I just touched your fucking titties. And because I'm me, I have to acknowledge that I just did it, instead of a normal person who would be like, that didn't happen. I'm like, sorry, did I just touch your
sorry, just touching your boobies? My other... It's just an awkward feeling for me, but I don't think anyone else would notice. Sierra sometimes will greet people for so long, and her back is to me, and so I'm standing there waiting to greet someone, and I'm just like, hi.
I've tried before to open myself up so they can pass.
Yeah.
But they come in for such strong hugs.
I know. And
then
I feel like
sometimes
an idiot.
we're whispering to each other.
I know. And I'm just like, should I leave?
I can't help it. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. That's
because
you're not doing anything
you
wrong.
have moments after that, and then I'll just stand there. But normally, what I do, I always bring a drink or 2 on stage. So that's my moment. I go sip my little drink. I'm like, I'll be over here sipping my drink while you 2 have your moment. But it's awkward because you don't want to go sip a drink. Because then if they come for you and you're like, I'm drinking.
Yeah. Oh,
sorry.
Anyway, that's about it.
Which venue had your favorite green rooms or get ready rooms?
Okay,
Houston
had a great getting ready room.
Incredible. What's the other one? Austin's room was
Austin was a whole suite.
Texas knows how to fucking do.
It's
green
bigger
rooms.
in Texas, I'll tell you that.
Let me tell you, everything's bigger in Texas because that shit was incredible.
Seattle, we had to walk a mile to get to our green room,
but it was kind of fun.
It was
It was up like a spiral staircase, and they were kind of. It was nice.
We got our quads were burning. I'll tell you that.
So I'd have to go up and down multiple times.
The worst green room that we had.
You're gonna
and I'm sorry. I'm sorry because I loved this show. I loved
really
this experience.
Yeah,
but Washington D.C.,
dude,
the green room was smaller than this set.
Smaller than my closet at home. I'm not kidding.
And that was the show that like my cousin and her friend came to and our moms came to. And I was like, we all can't be in here because it's so small. Honestly, this is a fire hazard.
We got to get out of this.
Yeah. And
I would get out and just do laps. And I was basically in their kitchen. And I was just doing laps in their kitchen because I'm like, I'm sorry, but I have to get out of here.
And it wasn't
also
because
really hot in there.
I was going to say, it wasn't just because it was small. There was bars on the windows. There was nowhere to sit. Like, because we had taken the couch out to
also in the like
the
sometimes
stage.
In the areas we were in like a shopping mall center or something like that. This area, the bars on the windows, we looked out and there was like a literal person's backyard. I saw like a pit bull in the backyard.
Yeah.
I was like, we are right here. Here.
Yeah.
It's happening.
So that was probably the worst one.
Yeah.
I feel bad about that.
Sorry,
but also,
it's
you know
true.
what? Phoenix had a beautiful room.
Yeah.
I sent pictures of all of it to Brady. I was like, I would love to do something like this in the basement someday.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah. Phoenix was really, really pretty. I just decorated pretty.
Mhm.
And then there were so many in between that were also amazing, but like the ones that we really remember.
I remember where were we with the mouse?
Philadelphia
Philadelphia
has
yeah.
mice.
Yes, we were at Philadelphia, and he was trying to talk to me, and I was like, "I'm so sorry, a mouse did just run under the futon, and I need to go and look for it." And so
And
he's
like,
talking still,
He was
and
like, we're trying to pretend like that mouse isn't here, but
I'm
know that mouse
on all fours, and he's still talking, and I am looking for the mouse under the futon. And then I don't know if you remember when we came back at the end of the show, they had printed out a paper that was like, "You leave those ladies alone," and it had a mouse on it. Like they were trying to communicate with the mouse for us.
Dude, I will say this is one of my favorite things, and I'm so genuine. We met so many amazing people at the venues, people who were taking care of us, sound people who were like management. Like we had maybe less than a handful of like interactions.
Yeah.
Never any super negative, just kind of
Yeah.
in a couple areas. But everybody for the most part was so fucking kind and nice.
So
and
wonderful.
They were shocked at how nice we were back.
They were almost like trying to coach us. They were like, "Hey, you got to stop being like this.
Stop being so nice.
People are going to take advantage of you."
And I was
is
like,
what
that's
they
probably
said.
true. That's probably true.
Yeah.
You're probably right about that, but I can't help it. This is what we are.
Yeah.
This is really funny.
Oh my God. I don't know if I told people I got fully yelled at in Boston because I was trying to clean up.
You did get yelled at in Boston. That man yelled at you. He said, "What the fuck are you doing? Stop it." Because we were literally cleaning up after the show.
Yeah, because I saw stuff underneath the chairs and I was like, "I'm so sorry. I had my friends here and they left cups on the ground."
We started cleaning up and he was like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?"
That is an exact quote. "What the fuck are you doing? Stop it." Is what
We
he
were
said.
like, What?
He goes, "Don't do that. You paid for other people to do that." And I was like, my hands work. And he's like, "No,
Stop it."
yeah.
We're like, "Okay, sorry."
And I like thought he was kidding, and so I went to pick up another, and he goes, "I'm so serious. Put
Stop
it down." I was like, "God, oh wow, okay, he means it.
Put it down.
Mm-hmm.
This is just really funny. It says, "Also, I'd love to hear Sierra recap the TikTok story about the rug buried in the ground in the girl's backyard and her haunting happenings in Columbus to Jerry." I already did that.
I was at the top of this guy.
I did it on. Ooh.
Should this be the last one?
Yes.
Because we're going to continue this on Patreon, and maybe we'll answer some spicier questions if there are some. I don't know.
Please come to Patreon and check it out. And then if you're there, you're going to find out a secret that we're doing on Patreon before other people.
Sure.
Will find out the secret.
Sure.
It's not really a secret, but we're going to tell you how we're restructuring some things.
Yeah.
In the next week. Okay. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 question, but we're going to go quick. The tour by quick states. 1, how many locations? 25 shows, 20 different states. I know because I counted it yesterday.
I was like, I don't know, this is math.
How many fangents reached? I have no fucking idea. I'm so sorry.
Thousands?
In the thousands, for sure. In the multiple thousands.
Yeah.
How many flights taken? Over 30, for sure.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. How many pants pooped in?
Definitely one.
One for sure.
One for sure.
Multiple Imodiums taken. I can't tell you the amount of Imodiums that were taken before and after shows.
Yeah.
In the show, when there was a crowd participation to select the clip, how many shows picked each option?
What's surprising is the only places that picked something different were ones that I bullied into taking
For the most part. For the most part,
yeah. Everyone picked the same stuff.
Yeah, which we kind of knew. How many tears shed?
So many.
Actually, I said I would cry in Phoenix, and I thought I would cry during the end when we wrapped it up.
She cried the second we walked
out. I
out.
cried the second we walked out. We walked out in Phoenix, and I knew it was our last show, and I thought, like, oh, it'll be a normal amount of energy. And we get out, and it's cheering. I mean, it's loud.
Yeah.
It's louder than it's been for a minute. And we sit down, and I, like, you know, we do our wave, and I get the mic, and normally that's when people quiet, and they started cheering louder. Mm-hmm. And I just started, it wasn't like, I don't cry the way that Jerry cries.
I am so full of water.
For me, it's just like tiny tears will well. And they were starting to well. And I was like, oh, because I wear a lot of eye makeup. I wear heavy eye makeup. So if you start to see it drip, and I noticed it in some Phoenix pictures where it was smudged underneath here. But that's what mine will just well underneath. And they just started welling. And I was choked up to where I couldn't talk. So I went to say something, and I immediately put my mic down and looked at Jerry and started dabbing my eyes. And she's like, is it happening already? I'm like, it got me. It got me immediately when I don't know what it was about that energy, but it got me as soon as we went out.
Well, I'll tell you that, like, I have come close to crying a couple times, but the only time I ever cried, like my voice cracked. Oh, there may have been one other time. There may have been one time when we were doing the ending.
Yeah.
I think they almost got me in Dallas.
They did get you in Dallas a little bit.
And then Phoenix at the very end. I thought I was going to make it. I thought I was going to make it the whole time without crying. And then at the very end, I said, thank you, Phoenix. We love you so much. And as soon as I said that, I couldn't finish it.
We didn't even do our finishing thing. And it didn't matter because they were cheering so loud. And
I remember
the fucking venue just played our music.
I remember we were hugging at the end and tears were just coming down my face.
Yep.
I was like, well, the waterworks have broken now, and I could not stop crying for the rest of the night. And I haven't stopped crying since.
That's true. She cried on the planes. What made up?
Oh my God, I did cry on the plane. I had my neck pillow, and I picked it up, and it was soaking wet.
We both cried on the planes in different ways, but I cried.
Listened to Kelsey Ballerini's Rolling Up the Welcome Mat album and cried a lot.
Yeah. What made up your pre-show playlist? I'll be honest with you right now. I did most of those.
Oh, yeah.
I just told them, and I don't know if you'll be
allowed to have the aux cord probably ever, anywhere I am.
Some places didn't ask me. So if you're like, this doesn't seem like L&T music, it's probably because they didn't fucking ask. If you're like, this seems like their music, it's because I told them what to play. Yeah. It was always like hip hop, R&B. Early 2000s hip hop R&B was what I played. And it started with, oh. So if you find that one on fucking Spotify, that's the one that I think they played. Or Pandora. I can't remember which one. But they consistently, a couple of them played the same one in a row. And they were bangers.
Is there more parts to that question?
One more.
Okay.
Easy one. Average yowls per show. I was at the Dallas show.
Oh, there was a lot.
And goddamn, we were yowing it up. And I kind of blacked out. Thank you to the drinking game. The second half of the show. So I went again to the Boston show, and there were so few yowls. The yowls were different in all shows. I would say Dallas was the most yowls we've ever had.
Dallas was the most yowls.
Dallas was the loudest crowd we've had. Phoenix was very comparable.
Chicago was comparable.
And so was Nashville. Those were our top 4.
Mm-hmm.
But Dallas still probably remains the loudest.
And if you guys want to see one of those shows, maybe we have one of those shows to show you.
Yeah, maybe we do. But yeah, they definitely, they yowed it up. And I think that you guys, Dallas felt like the closest crowd to you guys were pre-gaming and yowing before we hit the stage.
Yes.
We could hear you backstage. I come running out of the fucking green room and I was like, they're yowing.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but in Dallas, our stuff started to play before we were even out there.
Because there was a ghost.
We
were haunted in multiple, we'll tell you that on Patreon. Yeah. But we were haunted in multiple places. Mm-hmm. And that was one that we were, I think a ghost played that because we never had that incident happen again.
The amount of technical issues we had at the front half versus the back half is crazy. Because I didn't change shit on my end. Nope. So I know that wasn't me now.
Also, the way that moment happened when all 3 of the people who were supposed to be monitoring it were outside smoking.
Yes.
What are the fucking odds of that? And they came running in. They were like, this was the only time we took a smoke break together. Mm-hmm. that was the moment that shit
Yeah.
played. That felt like a ghost.
Yep.
So, anyways, what an amazing round. We loved it so much, and we thank you all so fucking much for being there and being a part of it. And please, if you want to see it again, keep on the lookout because
there might be one last time.
Yep.
Or
for those who missed it or in an international and want to see it.
Yep. So anyway, thanks for all of your questions from Patreon. We're going to go now to Patreon and finish that. Also, Sierra's wearing a new merch shirt. Our other Rooted in Witchcraft shirt is 20% off right now. And then this is the new one for spooky season. So go get this witch bitch in the woods.
It's so good.
And if you want to know about a witch in the woods, maybe keep an eye out for the show.
Yes.
Anyway, we love you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next week.
All right.
We're out.
Goodbye.